Good morning, everybody.
I now kindle the flame of hope worldwide and offer wisdom from Rumi. Once upon a time, there was a simple understanding that to sing at dawn and to sing at dusk was to heal the world through joy. The birds still remember what we have forgotten. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, my name is Moshe. This is my husband, Jamal Wade. We're a music group called HuDost, and we also do advocacy work with the nonprofit One, where the main aim is ending extreme poverty. And how many of you were here the last time we came in the spring? Okay, wonderful. Well, I love that it's mixed, a little bit of both. So nice to reconnect with those of you who were here. Nice to connect with those of you who were not here. We thought that we would start, we're going to kind of weave together some music and some advocacy, some sharing, because when we were here in the spring, we were doing work around PEPFAR, and we want to share what has and what has not progressed with you, how action continues. But let's first start with a little bit of an invocation, a little bit of a prayer together. So this song that we're going to share with you is one that we wrote using a Sufi prayer, and especially with that opening of Rumi, the Persian poet Rumi's verse that we shared with you. We thought this would be a beautiful prayer to sing with you. If you feel like joining at any time, the words are Subhanallah, which means everything is glorious. It's a nice remembering, right? Everything is glorious. And so just, there's going to be a part in the middle where I am going to loop my own voice singing, and there's a requirement, you know what that is? That you all sing that part with me. And the rule is, even if you completely butcher the words, as long as it's coming from the heart, you're going to be fine. But again, the words are Subhanallah, Subhanallah.
That's how I
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. As you can see and hear, this is a special Sunday and will be a departure from our normal order of service. We are fortunate to have the return of HuDost, and we'll be hearing a lot more from them shortly. I have personally been involved with social justice at this church for around 22 years. Our principles guide us in that direction. If you listen to the words, respect for our interdependent web of existence, improving the global community, supporting democracy, justice, and equity, actively building multiculturalism, and holding ourselves accountable to calling out racism, and of course, believing in the inherent worth and dignity of all. And our mission statement. Please read it with me. Our mission is to be a caring community that encourages spiritual growth and actively works to improve our society and the environment. One half of our mission, actively working to improve our society and the environment. That's social justice, folks. And what about the other half? To be a caring community that encourages spiritual growth. And the words from our principles: compassion, search, truth, meaning, evoking spirituality, the feeling that there is something greater than ourselves. When you talk about the union of many worlds, you notice how humans behave with each other, building harmony, empathy, and connection. That is what we are doing here today, especially the harmony part. You realize the connection between social justice and spirituality. According to the website Vision, Belief, Change, spirituality builds social justice where people start thinking beyond themselves and for others. Injustice becomes intolerable. Spiritual people like us must bring awareness. Advocacy towards social justice is the only way it can be established. Without advocacy, there would be no awareness. Is advocacy too political within sanctuary on a Sunday morning? I don't think so. It must be always nonpartisan and respectful of diversity of opinion, of course. But like Janine reminded us a few weeks ago, we can have both spiritual activism and active spirituality. Because somewhere in this world, right now, on a Sunday morning, in a different time zone, people are in desperate need, suffering, dying, every second, everywhere. This reminds me of a song I heard recently by Carrie Newcomer, a favorite here, Singing in the Dark. A song she wrote after visiting the monastery at Gethsemane in Kentucky, where the mystic monk and writer Thomas Merton lived. Carrie arose at 3 a.m. to sing prayers with the monks. They told her that there were vulnerable people suffering, especially throughout the night, and God needed to hear their pleas in multiple voices. One line of her lyrics states, "The prayer is never over, and the work is never done." For some of us, social justice work is our prayer. Obviously, we cannot help everyone in the world, and the need is great. We must take care of ourselves, of course, or we can't help others. But the easiest thing to do is throw up our hands and get back to our comfortable lives. Turn off the news, turn inward, and pretend, I don't see you. This is what Pope Francis describes as the globalization of indifference, especially when the suffering is in far-off countries like Africa, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, and on and on. So whether we are rallying for gun control, marching for reproductive justice, writing postcards for democracy, asking legislators to continue funding HIV initiatives here and abroad, or singing in the dark with the monks of Gethsemane, we must be intentional whenever we have the opportunity, as we are a justice-seeking, spiritual people, singing for our lives. And speaking about singing, Moksha Summer and Jamal Wade Hines, musicians extraordinaire and activists for the nonprofit One, come here today to honor, remember, and recommit to all those lost to HIV at the 35th anniversary of World AIDS Day this past December 1st. Spirituality and social justice wrapped in haunting musical delight. Let's welcome HuDost again.
Thank you. We're grateful to be part of this, and that was such a beautiful way of giving tribute to all of it. How about we do another song before we prod your brains with advocacy work? How does that sound? All right, I have a part that I'm going to teach you. Are you ready to sing for a second? I can sing it too. It's all good. I'm going to play a little part for you. I would love you to sing along when this comes around in the song, okay? And this is, the words are loosen the ties, loosen the ties. And it's that thing of letting go. Because it's when we let go that the space is given for the beauty to come in, right? So this is loosen the ties. Loosen the ties, 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 loosen the ties. Got it? That's your part. You've memorized it, right? You're ready. We'll repeat. Don't worry, I'll repeat it for you. Okay, you ready? I said, are you all ready?
Yes!
Now that you're all ready, we're going to sing a really mellow song. I'm seeking you here without qualms or fears. I've been looking for loose ends to weave, and the nuts and the bolts that are all Loosen the ties, 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 loosen the ties. In that. All right, let me say it again. Good morning. Good morning. Sometimes I think we need to say good morning about 20 times before we actually go, oh yeah, it's a good morning. Good morning. So, today, this weekend is a special time. World's AIDS Day was Friday. I had a good mouth blunder there. World Aid Day, right? World Aid to aid World AIDS Day. We should do that, like, how many peppers have you picked in the pot of, anyway. So remember in the spring we came, right, and we were talking to you about PEPFAR, and I know some of you were incredibly kind and wrote letters and were part of that. And I'm going to share a little bit more later, but this is ongoing work that we have to get into. This is advocacy in action, right? And what does that mean? So over the years doing this kind of work, I've realized the action doesn't stop. It just sort of goes from one thing into the next. And it's like when one thing is solved, we discover the subtleties of what still hasn't been solved. So we have to keep going with this. So before we jump into that, though, I want to share, especially for those of you who are not with us last time, I want to share what One is. So One, the nonprofit we work with, again, as I said before, the main aim is ending extreme poverty, right? And I just want to share with you too, just as a community before we jump into that, that in terms of my own path, this is the church, not here in Bowling Green, but in general through my life, through my family history that I'm associated with. And one of the things that it's inspired me to do is this kind of work. My great-grandmother was part of this church, and she did incredible advocacy work. My grandmother did incredible advocacy work. My mother has done advocacy work. So I just want to share that with you, that this, what you all are fostering in this place, in this church, is something that runs deep for me. And so I'm grateful to be able to do this with you this morning. So let's talk a little bit about One.
The power of the clicker. We're going to share just a little video of what one is to give you a far better summary than I can in my baby sleep-deprived state this morning.
A place where every child can have the right to go to school.
For freedom and human dignity.
Will you stand with me? Will you stand with me?
One Campaign is an amazing organization that's really about advocacy, and they really garner and encourage activism, and it's about justice. They're not like a charity organization.
That's some power. The people's voice are pretty strong.
Stop talking, start acting.
So that gives a good summary, but basically our vision is a world without extreme poverty and preventable disease, where people can fulfill their full potential and actively participate in the decision-making that affects them. So this is, as it says, this is the world that we want. What does that mean? So on the practical front, my husband and I are the congressional district reps for this area. Our job is simply to voice your voices to leaders. And we go and meet with senators, congressmen here. We also go to DC every year to do advocacy. What's your job? Your job, we're representing your voices. You are representing the voices of those who are not heard. Because extreme poverty is something that has a silencing effect. And we have to be able to use the power of our voices on behalf of those who are not being heard. So I want to share just one other thing here. This woman is a really wonderful woman. This is Gail Smith. She has been the main head behind One for quite a while. She's actually retiring, but she can give you a little bit more insight into what One is and how we accomplish our goals.
Hello. My spare time, I'm a beaver. Okay.
It's not true.
Hey, I'm Gail Smith, the president and CEO of the One Campaign. We are a worldwide advocacy campaigning organization that fights to end extreme poverty and preventable diseases. Like, what? But just stick with me for a minute. What is One? Dial back. What is not One? We're not a charity. We're not a big programming agency that runs programs in different parts of the world. Here's the deal. We don't ask for your money, we ask for your voice. Our job as the One Campaign is to make noise. What do I mean, make noise? It's make public noise, make noise in the media, make wonky policy noise, make noise in petitions, make noise in letters to Congress, is to get people's attention. And then when we've got their attention, basically all we do is say, here's a really good idea. Invest in this thing called development. Invest in our common humanity. We do it in the capital cities of countries that are big aid providers, but at the same time, The One Campaign is operating in Nigeria, for example. We've got a big team there and have successfully, for example, pressed their government to put more money into health. And at the end of the day, that's the simple formula that underlies all of this. Active and informed citizens organizing themselves to put a smart pitch to decision makers, put pressure on them when they don't act, give them credit when they do. It's not political, it's principle. It works pretty much everywhere we've tried it. And last up, we want to keep you guys informed. We want you to join us in building the momentum in a really, really busy year. We've got a lot to get over the finish line. So check us out. We'll be back. Stay tuned. And thank you for paying attention.
All right, so here's the deal. The problem, AIDS is still a crisis, right? And if you remember in the spring, I shared that there's been incredible work done around the AIDS crisis. There is now treatment available for it, right? People don't have to suffer through this. COVID set us back because people were not having the same access to vaccines, to everything they needed to prevent it continuing to be spread, right? So that was a step back. It was a step back in numerous things, not just HIV/AIDS, but other actual strains of different diseases, et cetera, that there are vaccinations for. What we are doing here, so here's just like the quick, wait a second. You guys are missing a slide here. All right, I'll tell you quickly here. So it's still an epidemic, right? It threatens global health security and economic development. That's the reality. When things like this affect health, look, here's another reference to COVID. What did we see? How much did that affect everything? Not just health, but economy, welfare, well-being, etc., right? The global COVID-19 pandemic and its social and economic aftershocks slowed progress in the fight for HIV/AIDS so much. Like I said, on average, over the last few years, 1.5 million became infected with HIV annually. Okay, let's let that sink in for just a second. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it's something that doesn't have to happen, because now people who are HIV positive, if they have the right treatment, it will not spread from them, right? So there are options available. So with the tools we have today, it's unacceptable that AIDS still claims 2,000 lives a day. So here's our opportunity. PEPFAR, right? Remember I shared a little bit about this. What is PEPFAR? Can you all read that? So basically, it's the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, right? That's what it stands for. It was established in 2003 by President Bush and bipartisan leaders in Congress, and it's a smart, effective program that works to accelerate progress toward achieving HIV/AIDS epidemic control. So it's operating in more than 50 countries around the world, working with local partners to achieve its goals. And PEPFAR's success is the result of 2 decades of bipartisan support across presidential administrations and from the US Congress. So, PEPFAR's impact. So take a look at this. PEPFAR has been a beacon of hope in the fight against HIV/AIDS and delivered incredible results in just 2 decades. I'm going to let you scan this if you can all read this. So basically, it's helped save 25 million lives, right? It's got 20 million people on life-saving antiretroviral drugs. And 20 years ago, we all know this. At least, is there anyone under 20 in here? No, okay. We all know this. 20 years ago, it was a death sentence, right? It was so scary, and now it's a treatable disease, right? So this doesn't have to be the kind of thing that continues to spread. And education is a really powerful part of that. That's why part of this work is education, and especially education to girls and young women, which we've been doing a lot of work around that, because believe it or not, the more girls and young women are educated, it affects communities more. Did you know that? It's true. Women know how to take action and know how to shift things in communities. So, look at this is amazing, right? 25 million lives saved through PEPFAR. So I'm going to let you just scan this because I don't want to spend all day with it. But this is incredible work. So here's the thing. If we're looking behind the statistics at examples of this work, one of the most successful programs PEPFAR funds is the Determined, Resilient, Empowered, AIDS-free, mentored, and safe program, DREAMS. DREAMS is a much easier thing to say than that whole thing if you want to share about this organization. So it operates across Africa and focuses on equipping women and girls with the health supplies and education necessary to prevent or treat HIV/AIDS. And so as of 2020, as it says, new HIV diagnoses among adolescent girls and young women has declined in all geographic areas implementing DREAMS, right? This is amazing. It's that thing of like, bring people in, educate them, help them to be leaders in their communities, and things will shift. That's the power of empowerment. So, I want to share just a couple examples of these because it's really special. So this is Shukuro from Zimbabwe. She was a victim of gender-based violence, which we won't talk about those rates, but this is a huge part of the problem, right, is violence against girls and women. She joined the DREAMS program at 16 and immediately took advantage of resources such as free HIV/AIDS testing. DREAMS helped connect her with other girls that shared similar experiences. In the DREAMS program, Shukuru learned family planning skills, entrepreneurial education, and many other skills. She now owns a business and is a DREAM ambassador and works to empower the next set of dreamers. Right, this is beautiful. This is empowerment that continues on. That's one of the amazing things about this kind of work. So here's another example. This is Jacqueline from Rwanda. She lost 2 children and husband to HIV. She remarried and discovered that she was HIV positive through tests made available through PEPFAR. She has successfully given birth to 3 children who are HIV negative via the Prevention of Mother-to-Child Transmission initiative. The PMT-CT program provides counseling and testing for pregnant women, ARV treatments, counseling, and support for safe infant feeding practices and family planning counseling. So this is an essential step to ensuring that an AIDS-free generation, right? This is amazing that someone can be HIV positive but can bear children who do not have that in their lives or on their shoulders. So, and this is again because of the work of PEPFAR, right? So everybody loves these kind of charts, right? Everybody loves this. So just to make clear, this is East and Southern Africa, okay? So if you look at it, the green is the people living with HIV receiving ART, okay? So you can see those numbers are growing. And the black is the AIDS-related deaths. So look at that decline. Isn't that beautiful to see? So this is West and Central Africa, right? So we're seeing the same kind of thing, where the more we have an increase in people living with HIV receiving ART, the more we have the decline of the deaths, right? This is amazing. So here's the deal. Do you remember in the spring, we came in and we were like, you need to help us reauthorize PEPFAR in 2023. Do you remember that? It hasn't happened yet, you all. I hate to break it to you, but this is actually the first time since it was set up that there's a delay in putting it in action. What's that? Yeah, a threat to it. This has been the kind of program that everybody sees the value of, and yet it's the first time it's under threat. So that's why we are back asking, not with a new, exciting, shiny issue to work on, but the same issue to work on. So here's the thing. It's up for its fourth reauthorization, and it's, as I said, long enjoyed bipartisan support. The United States has to continue to support it and fund it so everyone everywhere has access to life-saving HIV/AIDS treatments. To be clear, it is not just the US that funds this. There are many countries that fund this, but the US is the leading force on it. And so if the US lets go of that, it's not going to continue to have the needed momentum that it has. So we're asking members of Congress to reauthorize PEPFAR in 2023. We don't have much longer before 2023 is expired. You all know that, right? So this is a really critical moment, and we have to basically nudge everybody again. So it was September 30th that we had thought it would be reauthorized. It was not reauthorized. So it's still on the table. It was not like turned down, but it's just sort of being pushed to the side, and so we have to continue the movement around this. And so what it says, while PEPFAR programs will continue with existing funds in the pipeline, several of the program's key provisions are diminished in the meantime. Right? So that includes those that determine how much is spent on HIV/AIDS treatment, how much funding is directed toward orphans and vulnerable children. So what are we doing? To gain congressional support for PEPFAR's reauthorization, we are collecting handwritten letters, meeting with our local congressional offices, submitting letters to the editor, tweeting, et cetera, right? And if you all want to make phone calls, et cetera, we're going to be over on the other side. We're going to have a booth with all the info. We're going to have tools needed for you to write letters with us. And if you want to do more than just write a letter today, you can. You'll be able to, we'll give you info on everything you need. I want to share this. This was from the spring, right? We had you all write some letters. They were delivered. We were out of town, and our dear friend CJ, who's sitting over there, I included her face right there in front of Rand Paul's place, right? She was the deliverer of the letters that you did. So we're going to continue to do that kind of work. We're going to keep doing that. And it's in very early March. We're going to be going to DC again to do advocacy work and meet with more than just the local senators and congressmen. We'll be meeting with a bajillion senators and congressmen, and you may say there are not a bajillion congressmen and senators, but it feels like there are a bajillion senators and congressmen on lobby day. So this is high impact advocacy. So here's the 3 Ps. This is what we're going to think about just a little bit. When you write letters, I'm going to say when. We would love, there is no obligation, but we would love if you join us after and write these, right? So I just want to share a few key things that are important with that. Personalized, right? I mean, this is coming from you. You're not an official person who is a scientist about the AIDS, HIV crisis, etc. You are you. You are a person within a community who simply sees the value of other people and the value of other lives. You know, and so from the personal note, I'll just share my movement into doing this kind of work specifically was becoming a mom, because I suddenly saw the vulnerability of life, right? And I think we've all had those moments where we see that, we know what that is, and we wish that no one has the kind of vulnerability where everything could fall apart in their lives, where they could lose the people they love the most, right? So this kind of work is simply remembering that none of us are equal until everyone is equal, right? Until we can all share bread and wine from the same table. So also be precise and persuasive. So by being precise, we're going to have key points that you can give that'll help to communicate what we're asking for, right? And then be persuasive. As a Canadian-born person, one of my powerful tools is polite persistence. I've realized you can accomplish a lot if you stay polite and persistent, right? Persistent. So that ties into being persuasive. So we just have to sometimes nudge over and over until people actually hear and see. All right. Oh, I hadn't shared that one with you. I'm so sorry, everyone. Memorize this. I know you all have visual memorization tools that you can use called phones. But no, I'm just teasing. We're going to have all that info out there for you anyway. So I want to take, before we go into any of this next phase, and don't worry, we're going to play a little bit more music for you. Anybody have questions about this? No? Okay. I do want to share one thing. I mean, Diane, that intro was so beautiful, and she mentioned, you know, the kind of work that is nonpartisan, right? And that's a huge part of this. It's nonpartisan. It comes back simply to empathy. I will say that I struggled for a while with using the term nonpartisan, and I realized we need to use the term bipartisan because it includes everyone. It's not just negation, it's inclusion, and that's the focus of what this work is doing. So, saying we can non and bi, we can, you know, it's fine. Anybody questions? You can ask anything you want. You can ask where I got my boots if you really want to know. No? All right, well, feel free to ask questions after. Would you like a little more music while you stew upon this? Okay. Yes, come on up.
This congregation and the work we do is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who contribute. The offering is a sacrament of the free church. The greeters will pass the donation plates around. You may put your donation in the plate if you can, or use the QR codes on the screen, or donate via our website, or mail checks directly to our office. As we enjoy more music from HuDost, the offering will be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values.
So while that's passed around, would it be okay with you all if we do a very new song with you?
It's a bipartisan song.
It's a bipartisan song, that's true. We would like you to be our lab rats and see how this song goes. I'm going to warn you of something. This is the first song I've ever written where I drop an F-bomb. Can you handle that?
Yes.
Okay. If not, too bad for you, I'm sorry. This song, so we kind of like, we live in this weird social media era, right? And this spring, we were just sort of thinking so much about how it seems like there are so many people who enter these states of outrage over issues that have nothing to do with them, right? It's like this righteousness of like, I know everything that should be known about this. And it's like, but do you actually? And so this song we wrote as a reminder to simply come back to seeing people one-on-one, to seeing people like for who they actually are as people, and not just trying to make judgments about groups of people or how people should live, right? It's just simply offering that choice. Ready? I'm nervous, it's a new one. Okay. You can sing along at the end. There's a part that goes, acting out the outrage. Because this is a lovely thing to scream about while passing an offering plate. Don't hide your tears, don't look away. Do you think your shame is not like mine? There are lots of games we learn Awesome.
Then you all can go over and bring it.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to do one more thing with you. And this is totally not one of our typical songs or that kind of thing, but we're all painfully aware of what's happening in Israel-Palestine right now. And we decided we would do a chant with all of you today. We're going to actually come down and just do it totally acoustic, totally naked with you all. But would you be willing to actually stand and join us down there? Okay. So I'm just going to share what this is before we do it. It actually has 3 parts. You can move while I talk. It's fine. My voice will carry while you're moving, unless you're incapable of moving and hearing at the same time, which I respect. I have my days. So what we'll do is we're going to do 3 parts. I'm going to teach you, this is honoring the 3 tribes of Abraham. So we call it the Abrahamic Zikr. It's the act of remembering and bringing together. So in this, we're going to do a Sufi Islamic chant. We're going to do the Shema, and we're going to do Kyrie eleison. And so what I'll do is I'll share, which is Christian, in case you're wondering. And what we'll do is I'm going to teach you the simple, basic one. If you want to just keep going with that, sing it the whole time. That is beautiful. I'll sing the Shema, which if you know it, join me, sing that too. Or if you want to do the Kyrie eleison, he'll guide that, okay? So we're doing this, though, as a prayer for peace. So all I ask as you do this, just come to the heart and project this forward as peace. We're in a place where there are some actions we can take to empower and help that conflict, but sometimes the remedy is simply just giving our surrender to a prayer for peace. Okay? So everybody come down as close as possible. We're going to come right here.
Allah causes of happiness. May all beings be free from sorrow and the causes of sorrow. May all beings never be separated from that great happiness which is sorrowless. We invoke this peace for the tribes of Abraham, not just abroad, but in our own community, for peace to be the power that resonates for all, for peace to flow like the milk of a mother into the mouths of the hungry. We ask for this peace to glow like the richest of gold and to resonate in our hearts from this place and as we move beyond this place. Amen. Thank you everyone so much.
Would everyone have a seat, please? We're going to allow Moksha and Jamal to go over to the other building and set up, and we hope you join them over there for action, for refreshments. And I'd like to thank everyone for gifts that you may have given us today. May we use them wisely in the service of our congregation and our community. Community news. Action in the fellowship hall with HuDost, refreshments in the fellowship hall, a green sanctuary meeting at 12:30, a dance on first Sundays, and Guest at Your Table is ongoing. If you have questions about Unitarian Universalism or about joining this congregation, please speak with a member of our membership team or our board president, Roxanne Spencer. You can also email her at president@uubgky.org. And you can always find more community news by reading our monthly email newsletter, our weekly email updates. We now bid farewell to those who have joined us online. We hope you found this service meaningful, and we invite you to join us again either in person or online. Be well and go in peace. If you're here for the first or second time and you'd like to introduce yourself, we'd ask that you do that now.